Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here. I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order on August 9th, 2022, and I'll ask our city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Present.
Commissioner Guest?
Present.
Commissioner Henderson?
Present.
Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Bray?
Present. So our invocation will come from Commissioner Henderson, and then we'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father in heaven, we are so grateful for the opportunity that you give us to pray. We thank you, Father, for inviting us to involve you in the affairs of our lives. Father, we thank you for the opportunity that you've given us to serve our community, and we ask special blessings on our mayor and this commission. We pray, oh God, that you would bless in a special way our city manager and our city clerk and our city workers. Cover us all now, God, with your love and with your grace. We invite you to simply be in this meeting, and may we rely on your wisdom and your discernment. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first order of business that we have tonight is the introduction of a new award that the City of Paducah is making for our younger citizens here in the community. We traditionally have had a Duke and Duchess Award for many, many years, and so we all got together and we thought, and just to back up a little bit, the reason that we have Duke and Duchess Awards is to recognize people in the community that are doing good things or that have made an impact on our community, noteworthy things. And we decided, after talking about it, thinking a lot, we decided to develop a Junior Duke and Duchess Award. And tonight I'm honored to bestow our first award on a young lady in the community, Nyla Holder. Come on up, Nyla. Nyla is, she'll be an 8th grader at Lone Oak Middle School, where she's had the honor of being a school ambassador. She's also competed in a number of pageants and was recently crowned Junior Miss Cosmos here in the United States. But even more importantly than that, there's other things that Nyla's been involved in the community. She's active in our community volunteering. She's volunteered at Martha's Vineyard, the Merriman House, McCracken County Humane Society, and Book for Hope. She is currently working towards a Gold Presidential Service Award. In her volunteering with Book for Hope, she raises money for childhood cancer. And if that wasn't enough, she also sings the national anthem at some of her school games. So is there anything you don't do, Nyla? I'm not sure. But she was nominated by a teacher, Carly Eskridge, and so tonight I'm honored to bestow the first Junior Duchess Award to Nyla Holder. Congratulations. Okay, from here we have some new employee introductions, and I'll ask Chief Kyle to come up and introduce. We got quite a group back there. That's a good-looking bunch of men. Look really fit.
Oh, they're going to be.
You gonna whip them into shape?
They look very young.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and City Clerk. This evening, I've got 7 of our newest employees to introduce to you. As you can see, they're outfitted in yellow shirts, and we do that as a part of our recruit training process so that they're easily identifiable to us, and they've got something to work towards getting that gray T-shirt that they typically wear every day. Before I start to introduce them, I want to introduce Battalion Chief Chris Owen. He's the training chief the position that you all allowed me to fill here a little while back, and this is his, well, he's been indoctrinated with several things now, but this is his first recruit class, so he's excited, and I'm excited to have him in that position doing this job. When I call you guys up, just come up here and stand by the podium, and then you can return to the line. First up is Hunter Matlock. Hunter is from Paducah. He graduated from McCracken County High School in 2018, currently enrolled in Murray State University with 1 semester left to obtain a Bachelor's of Science degree in Logistics and Supply Chain Management. He's excited and grateful for this opportunity that he's been given. He's ready to push forward in recruit training and become a Paducah fireman. Nick Bogart. Nick was born and raised in Gresham, Oregon, and has been living in Kentucky the last 3 years. His family is from Sturgis, Kentucky. He got involved in firefighting in Morganfield, Kentucky. He's honored to be a part of such a fine department and looks forward to the possibilities that Paducah has to offer. I had to pay him for that part. Jacoby Bridges. He graduated from Trigg County High School in 2020. He was all West Kentucky Conference in football, where he amassed over 1,400 yards in his career. He's looking forward to recruit school where he can learn the skills necessary to become a Paducah firefighter like his uncle, Hakeem Tyler, who we hired a couple years ago. Michael Winans. From Paducah, originally from West Paducah, he has one son that is 3 years old and couldn't be more excited to have a dad employed by the fire department. He's looking forward to helping protect the city and community that he's come to know and love. Nick Hatton. Nick graduated from Paducah Tillman High School. He's a big advocate of running and staying in shape for his new career field. He looks forward to learning everything that encompasses being a firefighter in recruit school. Trail Prescott. Trail graduated from Callaway County High School in 2020. He enlisted in the National Guard in 2019 and is currently the rank of specialist. He's excited for recruit training and to continue to serve his community in a similar aspect to how he serves his state and nation. And last but not least, Matt Ulrey. He is a current resident of Paducah but grew up in Van Buren, Missouri. He is a military veteran that served in the Marines as well as the Army. He's a proud father of 2 young sons that he adores, and he's excited for the opportunity to come into recruit school and learn new skills that will help him serve his community. With that, that is our 7 newest hires for the fire department.
Well, that's great, and congratulations to all of you. You are in a very coveted job, I believe. City firefighter. Most people retire out of that job after so many years. So welcome aboard, and we're expecting great things from you.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, I do have one agenda item. Well, first of all, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, Mayor, none tonight.
Okay. All right, with that, I'm going to move to the consent agenda. And just to explain to everyone, items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Board of Commissioners and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There's no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. So I have one item that I'd like to remove from the consent agenda, and that would be the contract for services with the Paducah Transit Authority. And would any other commissioner like an item removed from the consent agenda? Okay, then I'll ask the city clerk to please read and call roll.
Approve minutes for the July 26, 2022 Paducah Board of Commissioners meeting. Receive and file documents, personnel actions, a municipal order authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Sprocket Incorporated in the amount of $75,000 to provide small business development and job creation programs. A municipal order authorizing the finance director to make payment to the Paducah McCracken County Convention Center in an amount of $31,444.59 for services related to the setup and dismantling of the Dome Pavilion for the 2022 AQS Quilt Show. A municipal order approving a memorandum of agreement with Jacqueline Ann Bell for property tax incentives related to the annexation of 3520 Olivet Church Road and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same. A municipal order declaring the real property located at 1404 Madison Street, Paducah, Kentucky, to be surplus property, accepting the offer of Charles Nichols in the amount of $5 and authorizing the mayor to execute the deed and all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing the finance director to make payment to Paducah Power System for construction and aid fees for the South 24th and South 25th Street Improvement Project in the amount of $74,185.55 and authorizing the execution of all documents related to same. A municipal order authorizing the finance director to make payment to the Paducah Power System for construction and aid fees for the Buckner Lane Bridge Improvement Project in an amount of $65,481 and authorizing the execution of all documents related to same. A municipal order accepting the bid for sale to the city of one front loader refuse trucks in an amount of $316,469 for use by the Solid Waste Department and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same. A municipal order accepting the bid for sale to the city of one sidearm refuse truck in the amount of $341,338 for use by the Solid Waste Department and authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for same.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. Okay, so let's talk about the contract for services with the Paducah Transit Authority. First of all, I'll let you read it.
A proposed motion of the Board of Commissioners to adopt a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Mayor to Execute a Contract with Paducah Transit Authority in the amount of $215,000 for public transportation services."
So moved.
Second.
City Manager?
Mayor Commission, this is our annual contract of services that we enter into with Paducah Transit Authority. The payout, if approved, will be in the amount of $53,750 for each quarter for the upcoming fiscal year. The contract is an annual contract of services, and it outlines what the expectations and the objectives and the services for PTA, which is to provide safe public transportation to all citizens of Paducah, McCracken County, also to provide accessible transportation, to provide trolley services, maintenance on the bus and trolleys, and trolley for downtown, lower town of Paducah tours. Those are the highlighted. There's also an accounting requirement that PTA provides us and has done for each of the years that we've had this agreement in place.
So Paducah Transit Authority is, our transit authority that provides very needed services for our community. They run routes all over the city and provide rides for people on regular bus routes, and as City Manager mentioned, they also staff for special events, the trolley. They also do they do transport of folks for medical purposes, and I know recently, just like every business that's really out there, there's been challenges with hiring, and finding enough people to get the work done. And so that has disadvantaged some folks in the community, but we continue to work through that. And tonight we have with us our general manager. Would you like to come up and say anything about how things are going? Please.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Arthur Boykin, and I am the Director for Paducah Transit Authority. Recently, we have had some questions as to how services are provided. And as I shared with the local TV station recently, our services are prioritized in one regard. We do what we call life-sustaining services first. That it would basically entail individuals that are being dialyzed, individuals that are receiving wound care, individuals that are receiving cancer treatment. Typically, that's a standing order for us Monday through Saturday, because that's the routine. They're either going Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or they're going Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So what we've shared with some of the other citizens of the area, those that may want to utilize our demand and response services, it doesn't affect our fixed route bus at all, because that's running a routine route on the 5 routes that we run, which are yellow, blue, red, green, and then the downtown trolley. But it's primarily affecting our demand and response, where in the past, and I thank our clients for that, they've been able to call Pat. We say, if you want to ride on Wednesday, call us on Tuesday, and we endeavor to provide that ride. But because of our driver shortage and the impact that it's had on us now, we tell clients, if you want to ensure that you get the ride, you need to call us. Well, we're out saying call us a week in advance, because we're providing on average 225 to 250 rides per day. We're doing that currently with about 13 drivers. And those drivers are covering 3 county areas: Marshall County, Ballard County, Northern Graves down to Hickory, as well as McCracken County. Now, what I share with you, and I share with all of them, is that if there's a client in Hickory or Wycliffe that's requiring a ride, we have to utilize our resources and asset to go to Wycliffe or wherever that ride may be. Once the vehicle shows up there, he or she may say, I'm not going today. But you have still allocated roughly 2 hours of that vehicle time that could have done numerous trips if we were talking strictly here in the county, in McCracken County. The same, and I'm going to call out some names, but the same is when we're running to Aurora, Kentucky, which is in Callaway. You send the vehicle there to pick up Mr. John Doe or Mrs. Jane Doe. They could be going. But the time that it takes to get Mr. John Doe or Miss Jane Doe from Aurora to Paducah, and we try to do it, this is also a concern. Some of our clients think that we're a sure ride system. That's why the vehicles are the size that they are. We try to pick up anywhere from 8, we try to schedule it so that we can pick up the maximum number of clients and get them to their appointment on the due time. So those are the challenges that we face. I shared with them, we are not like many other businesses right now. We're saying not hiring, and we are doing that. The challenge with Paducah Transit Authority is that some of our hiring stipulations, some people may call them a little rigid, but you have to do a pre-employment drug screen. You have to have pass a background check. You also have to have not had a felony within the last 5 years. We can waive it if it's beyond that. So the criteria or guidelines for us to employ someone, it makes it also a little more challenging for us. So we are endeavoring right now to, we put out I call them yard signs. We're advertising on Channel 6. We've raised the pay to where it's a little, on a demand and sponsored driver, it's a little north of $14 an hour. We're trying to compete with the labor market. But with the shortage of drivers that we do face, we think 225 to 250 is really taxing. It's taxing some of the drivers that we do have. They're doing 12-hour days in order to do that number of trips. And then when you take in consideration that of that 14 drivers, some of them, when I say a part-time, they can only work in the afternoon. They're not doing a full 8 hours. And so those are challenges that we have right now. We think we're overcoming them. We're on the downside of the ebb and flow that we have in our hiring cycle right now, but we did lose individuals because some of our drivers have retired from other jobs. They are senior in age, and they didn't, when the virus really got bad, they said, thanks, Pat, but I want to go home. I don't want to take this to another loved one who may be having a compromised system as well. So we're dropped down. We need as many as right now, we would hire 15 to 20 drivers, because I will tell you, it's not the training, but the retention rate is about 35%. So we're looking to acquire additional drivers, and when we do acquire those drivers, we'll be back to where our clients expect of us, and that is call us on Tuesday, and we'll provide you a ride on Wednesday. But right now, that's just not the case because of the other standing orders that we have to take care of. We provide approximately 168,000 rides a year, of which on the services that we have with the city, and I thank you for that. Supporting Pat's and supporting what I think many of you already know, but I like to always tell you that Paducah has the only fixed route bus system of a rural of anywhere in the state of Kentucky. We are the only population under 50,000 that has a fixed route system. So I thank you for that, your foresight in that, and I implore you to maintain it, because I think if we ever lose it, it would be a big detriment to the city in that regard. We take individuals on the fixed route system daily to work. We extended, as you well know, the hours a few years ago, trying to take advantage so that students could utilize our fixed route services and attend West Kentucky Community and Technical College. So we extended the hours. We bring them in at 7. We've delayed the hours. We've extended the hours on the other end to 7 p.m. We would like to, there are questions as why can't you run until 10? Well, it's a matter of, we can't run 4 buses to 10 o'clock and pick up 10 people. Right. It's not a practical matter right now. So, but I thank the city for your continued support. It has dwindled in the past, but you are supporting us, and for that I do thank you. We understand that. Everything, everyone is having to do much more with less. But you have been a constant in what you do for public transit, and again, thank you. Subject to your questions.
So Arthur, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for, that explanation, and we appreciate all the hard work, everything that your organization does to, put service on the roads. The fixed bus system, fixed route system's amazing. And it's very important to the community. I'm kind of curious, some of the situations you described, like going to Aurora to pick somebody up and them possibly not being there, or how do you get compensated?
You do not. That's considered a no-show.
How do you get compensated if they do?
The current level of compensation, if the individual is a walk-on, and we don't use the term walk-on, we use numbering system, but if they walk onto the vehicle, you receive $1.78 per mile for the mileage that you transport them. If they are an 08, which is they're using an ambulatory apparatus to load the vehicle, there's a load fee of $20, and you still receive the $1.78 a mile. That's a one-time fee. You may load 3 of them on, but you're only going to get one load fee, one $20 wheelchair fee.
I see.
But we are compensated at $1.78 per mile once they get on the vehicle. If you go and they didn't board the vehicle, that's just deadhead mileage. I guess that's the price you pay to be in the game.
And that compensation comes from?
That compensation comes from, to us, it comes, we're not the broker for the area. The broker is called Audubon Area Community Action Service out of Owensboro, Kentucky, with an acronym called GRITS, Green River Inland Transportation System. They are the broker. They send us the trip. Ultimately, we are paid by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet under HSTD, Human Services Transportation Delivery. The money flows from them through the broker to us.
I see. Well, I think that's, man, that's a lot of wasted time, if you drive 2 hours or an hour somewhere, and somebody doesn't, doesn't show up, and it seems like there ought to be a way to.
There is a no-show policy, but the Medicaid is reluctant, and that's using that very, very conservative. They are reluctant to kick anyone off the roads because they're paid on a per diem basis. If there are 28,000 Medicaid recipients, they received X amount of dollars per 28,000. So they're reluctant to kick those. I mean, all that we can do, we have a no-show policy that's applicable to PATS. We tell a client if we come 3 times and you no-showed us, we will not do a standing order. You have to then, you may even be put off for a week or so, but you have to now call us. You have to call us and tell us you're wanting to ride. But that's not the case with Medicaid. That's why we call it a standing order. You will go pick up him or her regardless as to the number of times they may or may not have boarded your vehicles. That's just, and because they may have a phone or they may not have a phone, you cannot hold that against them. It's just a no-show.
Right. So you're kind of hamstrung by that policy.
We're hamstrung by the policy, but I will tell you, I will have to be totally honest. Medicaid is the lifeblood for PATS, and I thank the city for their support. But our fixed route system costs us about $1.2 million a year. The $215 that we receive from the city is matched automatically in state funding. We have about 78,000 that we could collect in fares from the ridership. And you say, how does that play? Well, if you're a senior, which we do it as part of good faith for the community, if you're a senior and have a gold card, there's no charge for you to utilize us at all. If you are 65 or older, that is cut in, the fare rate is cut in half to 50 cents. For students, it's cut in half to 50 cents. So that's the dynamics of the numbers and the fares that are paid per year.
Wow, that's a lot of information. Commissioners, any questions, comments?
I guess sometimes I forget how far out you go, your service.
We go, as I say, just the furthest point, if I would listen to my drivers, is Aurora.
And is that required
Yes.
by contract for you to go there?
Yes, the broker, they are the broker for Region 1. Region 1 covers the purchase area, all 8 counties. There are 2 other agencies that do what we do in terms of demand and response. That's Fulton County Transit Authority and Murray Callaway Transit Authority. We share some of the extreme areas of Callaway with Murray. Fulton covers the 4, can I say, southern counties: Hickman, Fulton, Carlisle, and I'm missing one, most of Graves.
Okay.
Most of Graves. We cover, when I say northern Graves, for me, that's down to Hickory,
And then you cover Ballard.
Ballard, and Marshall.
I think Murray's closer to Aurora than we are, aren't they?
Murray's closer. They don't necessarily look at the distance that you're traveling. Before they did away with we call it authority. We had a authority that granted you the counties that you would oversee.
Oh, I see.
And those have been the counties that Paducah Transit Authority have been assigned operating authority. I think it came back, operating authority. Well, we had operating authority for those counties.
Mr. Borkin, did I understand you to say that you're fully staffed in terms of drivers at 15?
No. Well, I would be fully staffed at drivers in terms of if we were to have about 35.
35.
And let me, Commissioner, let me expound upon that just for a minute, because I have to discount the fixed route drivers. I'm talking, I think most of the issues have come when you as a citizen call and Pat says, we can't come and get you right now. That's where I think most of the issue arises from, not necessarily in the hours that we're running the fixed routes or in the or the time frame, but that of the drivers that we do have, that right now requires 9, because those fixed route drivers, they start at 6:30 in the morning, they run to 1. Another shift comes on and runs from 12:30 to 7. So that constitutes, that's 8 drivers. And then we have one that's allocated for the as you were, to the trolley, that making 9. So, and then the other 13 to 14 are the demand and response drivers, and they're doing, I applaud those drivers, they're doing a tremendous job for us. So yes, ideally, if we could get 15 to 16 more of those type drivers, we could provide the type service that, again, I'm very thankful that our clients are used to us providing.
Well, Arthur, we appreciate you being here and going through that explanation of what's going on. It's very helpful.
Thank you.
And so, well, again,
I appreciate the opportunity to always tell the citizens of McCracken County what Paducah Area Transit does.
that's great. And thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, call roll.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Okay, we have one municipal order that we're going to approve tonight, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but I'll let our city clerk please read it.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt a municipal order entitled, "A Municipal Order Authorizing the Finance Director to Make Payment to the Industrial Development Authority for the Purchase of Property Located at 6866 Bobo Road in an amount of $98,928.46 for economic development purposes, authorizing the mayor to file an application to the Paducah Area Community Reuse Organization, PACRO, for funding in an amount up to $98,928.46 for the acquisition of land to be used by the Paducah McCracken County Industrial Development Authority, and authorizing the mayor to execute all documents related to same."
So moved.
Second.
You want to start, or?
Mayor and Commission, this item is brought to you this evening in support of future economic development opportunities. As you know, that you have to have land to be able to attract potential industrial clients. And in conversations with our community partners over at Fiscal Court and with the IDA, this was an opportunity of some land that was available, and looking at the total cost and the potential future allocation of resources back in from a direct benefit or an indirect benefit, we came to the presentation to you tonight for consideration that of the total purchase price, the county would see potentially a 77% of the direct benefit from that if there was an economic development purpose to occur on that land. Indirectly or induced, the cities would be 23%, and so the parties have agreed to present, and last night the fiscal court acted on, of them paying for 77% of the purchase price of the $430,123.76, and for you consideration tonight of the 23% of that cost being at $98,928.46.
Yeah, thank you. This is, this is a piece of land that's out around the Triple Rail site, which we've had a lot of activity and a lot of interest in. And as the city manager said, it's very important for us to have land available for companies when they come in and look for land. There is one clause in this municipal order that allows us to go to PACRO and apply for funds through PACRO, which the county has done as well. And PACRO is a is a community organization designed for those that don't follow, designed to utilize the monies that are generated from dismantling the gaseous diffusion plant for economic development, to help drive more jobs. And so we believe that this is, a valid use of those funds. So ultimately, that'll be the PACRO board that makes that decision. But we have added that clause to the municipal order. Any questions? Okay, I'll ask the city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. We have one ordinance to adopt tonight, and that is the telecommunications ordinance, and I'll ask the city clerk to please read it, and then I believe we have somebody here that wants to speak.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners adopt an ordinance entitled, an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 108 Telecommunications of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah, Kentucky. This ordinance is summarized as follows. This ordinance repeals and replaces Chapter 108 Telecommunications of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paducah in its entirety. The purpose of this ordinance is to establish local policy, guidelines, standards, and timeframes with respect to the regulation of telecommunications providers and to promote competition in telecommunications. Additionally, this ordinance allows the City of Paducah to permit and manage reasonable access to the rights-of-ways of the city for telecommunication purposes and conserve the limited physical capacity of right-of-ways held in public trust by the city. This ordinance creates a non-exclusive franchise allowing telecommunications providers to bid for the right to construct, erect, operate, and maintain upon, through, along, under, and over its right-of-way of the City of Paducah a telecommunications system. This ordinance requires fair and reasonable compensation to the city and the residents of the city for permitting private use of rights-of-way, including an application fee in a non-refundable amount of $5,000 and franchise fee payments as set out herein. As required by KRS 83A.060, the following sections of ordinance are set forth and shall be published in their entirety. 108-30P, minimum annual franchise fee means $6,000 in the first year the grantee's franchise and shall increase by $1,000 annually. And 108-31A, application shall be accompanied by a non-refundable application fee of $5,000 payable to the city. Said application fee shall not be considered franchise fee payments. 108-47, compensation. A, the franchise fee imposed under this ordinance is not in lieu of any tax, fee, or other assessment except as specifically provided in this ordinance or as required by applicable law, as by way of example and not limitation. Permit fees and business license taxes are not waived and remain applicable as provided by law. Additionally, the city may at any time impose fees or taxes consistent with state or federal law, including but not limited to property taxes and occupational license fees. B, grantee shall pay a quarterly franchise fee to the city which shall be equal to the greater of either A, the minimum annual franchise fee is defined herein and amended from time to time, minimum annual franchise fee, or B, an amount equal to either 1, 5% of the grantee's gross revenues, which shall be payable quarterly and may be passed through to the grantee's customers if grantee provides telecommunication service to customers within the City of Paducah. Gross revenue-based franchise fee, or 2, an amount equal to $2 per lineal foot of facilities plus $3,000 per each wireless facility other than small wireless facilities, and $270 per each small wireless facilities if grantee does not provide telecommunication service to end users within the City of Paducah. Facilities-based franchise fee. C, grantee's first franchise fee payable under this ordinance shall be paid to the city 45 days after the city gives notice to the grantee that the city has exercised its constitutional right to collect franchise fees. Such payment will be prorated for the remaining calendar year, rounded to the nearest month. Thereafter, grantee shall pay each franchise fee as applicable in accordance with the schedule below. Minimum annual franchise fee payments, if applicable to the city, shall be paid on or before April 15th of each calendar year during the term of the franchise. Gross revenue-based franchise fee payments, if applicable to the city, shall be computed based on the grantee's gross revenues from each calendar year, quarter period, January 1 through March 31st, April 1 through June 30th, July 1st through September 30th, and October 1st through December 31st, and paid on or before the 45th day following each calendar quarter period during the term of the franchise. Facilities-based franchise fee payments, if applicable to the city, shall be computed based on the grantee's lineal foot of facilities in the City of Paducah as of January 1 of each calendar year and paid on or before April 15th of each calendar year during the term of the franchise. Payment not received by the city by the due date shall be assessed interest equal to the lesser of either 1% per month or the highest rate permitted by law. Interest shall be compounded annually. Interest shall be due on the entire late payment from the date on which the payment was due until the date on which the city receives payment. Prior to making each payment to the city, grantee shall file with the city a written report containing an accurate statement in summarized form as well as in detail of its calculation of the amount of the payment verified by an officer or other authorized representative of the grantee, setting forth its gross revenues according to their accounting subdivisions and any deductions claimed for the period upon which the payment is computed. Such report shall be in form satisfactory to the city. If any franchise fee is owed to the city, upon reasonable notice, the city shall have the right to inspect the grantee's income records the right to audit and recompute any amounts determined to be payable under any franchise granted pursuant to this ordinance, provided, however, that such audit shall take place within 12 months following the close of each of the grantee's fiscal years. If, as a result of such audit or review, the city determines the grantee has underpaid its fees to the city in any 12-month period by 10% or more, then in addition to making full payment of the relevant obligation, grantee shall reimburse the city for all expenses incurred as a result of an audit or review, and such payment shall be paid within 30 days following the written notice to the grantee by the city, which notice shall include a copy of the audit report and copies of all invoices for which the city seeks reimbursement. If any franchise fee is owed to the city, in the event that any franchise fee payment or recomputed amount is not made to the city on or before applicable dates heretofore specified, interest shall be charged from such date as defined in this ordinance. No accord and satisfaction, no acceptance by the city of any franchise fee or any other payment shall be construed as an accord that the amount paid is in fact the correct amount, nor shall acceptance of any franchise fee or any other payment be construed as a release of any claim of the city. The city reserves the right to require the grantee to collect any consumer or other tax or other fee that may be imposed by the city, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, or the federal government on the telecommunications services. Notwithstanding any other provision of this ordinance, the grantee shall be required to pay the government an amount intended to adequately compensate it for its permitting and inspection of the grantee's construction activities in the rights-of-way pursuant to code, and all attorney's fees that the government may incur relating to the franchising process, including but not limited to any attorney's fees incurred relating to granting of the franchise and any transfer, renewal, or modification of the franchise.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I'll ask Mr. Ursini, he wants to make some comments. I'll let him speak first. I think he's got, he wanted to address us. Welcome.
Hey, how's everyone doing? If you think back to the year 1990, you think about Jurassic Park being on the big screen, the X-Files being on the little screen, and Britney Spears wasn't releasing music yet, so it was a long time ago. And that's whenever the city had last really addressed telecommunications, almost 30 years ago. And the effect of that is, in 1990, we were using cable television wires and telephone infrastructure to connect to the internet in the city of Paducah, and for our residents, that's still what's happening. Over the years, our business, as it expanded, required more and more infrastructure for it to run and to stay in Paducah. And one of the effects of not having good network access to other areas was that we had to co-locate in Fremont, California, and for this part of the country, we were going to have to move to Nashville, Tennessee. So rather than doing that, we started our own internet service provider, and we ended up leasing a lot of very expensive lines on other people's fiber optic to make those interconnections to those other large cities and to make those direct connections rather than just buying internet access. And so what that allowed us to do is that gave us the infrastructure to start offering internet services to other people. So right now in Metropolis, Illinois, we're building out and we're about 60–70% done with our infrastructure project out there. And the end result is that we have houses in Metropolis, Illinois with better connectivity than some hospitals in Western Kentucky. And it ends up being a really neat thing whenever you go into an area and give people this type of connectivity that, only was very limited to the biggest of businesses. And so for Paducah, Kentucky's a little bit different than the state of Illinois in the way that it now handles franchises. And, the devil is always in the details. And the very first draft of the ordinance had just a few little details that needed to be tweaked for it to work. And thanks to the city of Paducah and everybody spending a lot of time on this, I think that we were able to meet in the middle. We're going to be evaluating the effects of this ordinance, and consistent with the ordinance, we're going to be talking to City Manager Jordan with some clarification on a few key points on what we need to do to establish a franchise. And we're also meeting with some other partners and other business people within the area and doing what we need to do to establish this. So thanks to you guys having the open ear. I think that the end result for this is that the effective monopoly that the old ordinance had should be over now. And now we'll see multiple providers, and not only us, building out this infrastructure within the city of Paducah. So I thank everybody for their time, and I thank for everyone for listening. And hopefully the effect of this ordinance is going to be a very positive one for the next 30 years. So appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Preston. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate those kind words. I do think, just to reiterate what Preston said, I do think we listened. I know the city manager and I had several conversations, both one-on-one and with attorneys, and also compared a lot what was going on in a lot of other cities in Kentucky to try to come up with the best outcome. So I appreciate your positive remarks, and of course, we wish you and your company the best. So with that, I'll ask the city clerk to please call roll.
Commissioner Galt,
Aye.
Commissioner Guess,
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson,
Aye.
Mayor Bray.
Aye. Passed.
I thought you were adjourning us.
I know, I thought,
We got more stuff to do.
Okay, we have one ordinance to introduce tonight, and I'll ask the city clerk to please read it.
A proposed motion that the Board of Commissioners introduce an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2022-06-8740, entitled, an ordinance adopting the City of Paducah, Kentucky annual operating budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds for the operation of city government. This ordinance is summarized as follows. Amend the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30, 2023 as follows. Transfer $113,082 from Fleet Lease Fund balance to account 7100210540050 Fleet Lease Vehicles, and transfer $155,793 from Solid Waste Fund balance to account 502209540050 Solid Waste Vehicles.
So moved.
Second. Mayor, Commission, Superintendent Yarber is here to kind of walk through this request, so thank you, Chris.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I won't take much of your time. This is actually something you approved before in the previous fiscal year, but due to supply chain issues, they couldn't get parts to build out the vehicles. So we had to move them to this fiscal year to make it legal and get your approval to do so. So actually, out of the 3 vehicles, 1 is already coming in, so we expect the others to be in soon.
No questions? I think we're good.
You sure? Okay. Thank you.
Should we have more questions?
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, we do have an executive session tonight. Before we do that, City Manager, any comments?
Mayor, Commission, I would just like to take the opportunity to brag on our team a little bit tonight. As you're aware, and many of you participated and had the opportunity to participate in the recent August 8th celebrations that wrapped up yesterday. For all of our departments were involved with that and helping to make that a success. I'm very appreciative of the hard work and the time and effort from customer experience and Lindsay's team there, to Public Works, to the Parks Department, to our police and fire, HR. Top to bottom, our team pitched in to help make that a success, and we were glad to do that and participate in that. Also would like to give you an update on a couple of projects that we have in the works. First is on the Cherry Civic Center. We met, Amy and I met with the design team last week. We're at 95% at that time of the design. They're working on wrapping that up so we can get the RFP out. And so we hope to have that document and the request for you to go to RFP here in the next couple of meetings. And then also, Amy and I met with the design team that's doing the construction design work on the pickleball courts. The RFP on that, we hope to release here. The timing is going to be such that more than likely the construction could begin this winter, but not finalized until the spring. Based on the plants starting to shut down, and it just depends on how the winter flows on that. But getting that out, and so our intention is to get the RFP out, get those projects back, design work all to be finished in time for us to bring back a request to award the construction this fall with construction completion targeted for early spring on the pickleball courts at Noble. That's all I have this evening.
Any questions? I just
I just had a question on this. interlocal agreement on the sports commission. Can we get an update on that too?
Yeah, sure. I think, well, I don't think, but Darren, city manager, and the deputy judge executive met this week. And we are very close to finalizing all the items there. If necessary, we might have one final meeting next week, but we would hope that we might have something to vote on as early as 2 weeks from now. So.
Do you expect to have that to the rest of us?
The intent from Deputy Judge Executive Doolittle and my meeting yesterday was to have the draft number 8 of that ILA back from the county this week, so we could get it out to you early next week in advance, and so it would allow for the opportunity for you to review. And so we could have the dialogue and discussion at the next commission meeting on that.
Can we have a vote? I mean, how will that work? The voting, so we can get started?
Yeah, and so, I mean, there's multiple ways, and, the quickest way is if there's any comments or questions or concerns still out of that ILA, that we can work through those that evening, and then it could be up for potential for a vote to move forward of processing and signing that ILA. If there are some things that's still outstanding that you need to work on, then you would have that discussion, and then that potentially could push that decision that you would make, to the next commission meeting or a special call meeting. You always reserve the right with 24 hours notice to have a special call meeting for something of that nature, should you so choose.
The goal is to get a product to all of you all that's as close to final as we possibly can, so you can take a look at it and be prepared to discuss. And if you've got any questions or issues, you can raise those before the meeting. But we're not going to give it to you with 24 hours notice. We're going to give you a little time.
Do you know, where are they on it? I mean, I guess if we needed a special called meeting, the sports commission's meeting tomorrow, so I know that there's a lot of interest on how soon we're going to be getting it to them.
Yeah, we could always call a special meeting if we needed to. I'm not sure we'll be ready for a special meeting. I mean, I think my take is probably the earliest that we'll be ready to go would be 2 weeks from tonight, as far as voting.
Would it be a municipal order we would vote on that night, or would it be just an introduction and then we wouldn't vote for another 2 weeks?
The city clerk, correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be done in one vote, right, on the ILA, or would it need 2 readings?
We have traditionally done ILAs by 2 readings, but I don't know that that's required.
I think we'll get legal clarification on that, but I do believe that you retain the opportunity to do it in one reading, but you can do it, should you need. Which, again, if you got to the point of being able to come to the decision at the next commission meeting, you could then, with 24 hours notice, set a special call meeting to come back and have the second reading without having to wait 2 weeks. That is always an opportunity.
Okay.
But when do you think you'll have the final draft?
We left it with our meeting yesterday is that the county was endeavoring, and Steve was endeavoring to get that back to me this week.
Okay, because as you both know, I asked John Perkins
Right.
to take, and I know you all sat down together, but when I got that back from him,
Yeah.
I've got considerable, I mean, it's a multi-generational commitment.
Right.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah, and the financing or the final allocations of resources and ultimate expenses are going to largely depend on the ultimate design of that. This ILA doesn't get into the final design of the sports
Which
license.
gives me considerable
Right.
concern.
Right, it just gets us to the point of saying that we would, go into, right?
I mean, I do
But-
think the sooner we could get it, the better.
Oh, I
to
don't
be looking
disagree,
at
but-
it. No,
Yeah.
to your point.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're trying to get it to pretty much of a final point, but, I mean, are the county commissioners reviewing it all and then giving their feedback back to Steve? Because I don't think we've seen anything in several, maybe even months. It's been quite a while.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think he was going to put together a final draft, and I'm sure he'll share it. And when he shares it, we'll share it. I mean, it'll be shared at the same time. That's
With the
goal.
county commissioners and the city
Right.
commissioners?
I mean, just, and for the, to go through the timeline, of course, The county got their draft back from their legal. They went through several iterations to it. It was draft number 6 when it finally came to us for the first review. So they went through 6 different iterations before they shared it initially. Then it was shared. We looked at it, we had some questions, started to have the conversation. The judge executive, the mayor, then asked Deputy Judge Doolittle and I to sit down and talk. Several weeks ago, we met for about 3 hours working through that. Then version 7 came back to us. Version 7, then after I got that, I sat down with Finance Director John and Audra and his department, and they and I met for 4 hours working through it on our side to kind of get clarification. Yesterday, Deputy Judge Executive Doolittle and I sat down with that 7th draft version, went through those questions, and then version number 8 is supposed to be back to us this week.
We good? I mean, that's where we are.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'd hoped we would have it, I mean, we're pushing 6 weeks, could be 8 from when, we talked last about it. I mean, we want it to be right, I understand.
Oh,
your concern.
absolutely.
We want it to be right, but I just want to make sure we have time and that we're getting it in time to have it.
We're pushing, so. But there's, it's a thick document, and there was lots of items to be discussed. So we need, we'll get it in front of you as soon as we possibly can. Okay, any comments from commissioners?
Mayor, I just wanted to say ditto to what City Manager said earlier. I just want to commend the team for their participation in the 8th of August parade and the festivities, actually. And I know Saturday I was very pleased to look out and see all of the city workers that I saw. And I think that was a good thing. So I want to say thank you for making that happen. To Mrs. Wilcox and the team, thank you so much.
Well, it was a really nice celebration. I mean, it was the biggest that I don't know how big these celebrations have been in the past, but it was pretty big. And Angie and I rode in the parade. It was a lot of fun. It was hot. And Arthur's not here, but the air conditioners were broken on the trolleys, so that made it even hotter. But at any rate, it was a great celebration, and a lot of people back in town, seeing family, very traditional, time when families celebrate. So it's great to see everybody.
Great.
So, okay, I believe we'll ask the city clerk to read, take us into executive session.
A proposed motion that the board go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topics. 1, future sale or acquisition of a specific parcel of real estate is permitted by KRS 61.8101B, and also a specific proposal by a business entity where public discussion of the subject matter would jeopardize the location, retention, expansion, or upgrading of a business entity as permitted by KRS 61.8101G.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioner Galt?
Aye.
Commissioner Guess?
Aye.
Commissioner Henderson?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilson?
Aye.
Mayor Bray?
Aye. See you, Preston.
See ya.